Back at it with another Build Biology. This time we got a car that I've only been able to build in Forza and make look cool, but is gorgeous. Man's been here before. What's up, man?
What's going on?
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Batim from BBI Autosport, Huntington Beach. We build Porsches.
Build Porsches, and you've brought us a Porsche that is just gorgeous. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, brought you guys a 2004 996 GT2, the Widowmaker.
The Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Why do they call it the Widowmaker?
Two-wheel drive, boost, no traction control.
We're going to talk about boost later.
Yeah.
You already told me a little bit off camera, and it's just unreal.
Right.
But right now, let's talk about the exterior. I mean, it just looks amazing from the outside. It looks very subtle, but I know it's not.
When we started the build, we kind of wanted to act like if Porsche at the time, some of the crazy engineers went to the parts bin and just went, all right, what do we got in the motorsport department? What do we have here? So we wanted to keep the look identical. You know, it's an OEM carbon wing, you know, the seat, all that stuff's kind of OEM parts.
Yeah.
And, but then we went bananas everywhere else.
Yeah. So most everything on the outside is factory stock.
Yeah, factory stock, but you know, the upgraded package where you can check the $1 million boxes or whatever they call it with the carbon, and then, you know, the scoops and actually the scoops
Let's have a walk
aren't,
around.
they didn't offer them at that time in carbon, so we had MA do them. But the wings carbon from the factory, the seats, all the good stuff.
It looks so nice. So this is just basically the most upgraded version you could get.
Correct.
You just pulled the parts off and threw on it whatever you had to make it look very clean.
Yeah, and that kind of sums up the body work. We just wanted to keep it clean and trim.
Yeah, and the wheels look insane. I see the monolug.
Yeah, so these are E88s. We spec'd them in 19-inch, and we needed to clear the brakes because the 18s wouldn't clear the custom Brembos that they built for us. But
they're massive.
yeah, the center locks, they have integrated locks in them, and it's straight from
really cool.
Yeah, it's straight from the 996 RSR.
That's awesome.
So quick wheel changes.
So what size are the wheels?
The wheels are 1912 rear and 19.9 front.
Yeah, and you can see the offset change in
the barrels.
Front to the back, the barrel for sure. It's really cool. Now, it's hard to avoid everything in the interior, especially looking from the outside right here and seeing all the suspension work. But we'll get into the interior and just check out what's going on in there without talking about that for the moment.
Right on.
So what we got going on in the interior?
So the interior is, again, you got the classic Cocoa mats. Everybody in the 70s was dying for those things. So
those are rad.
Yeah, they kind of integrated those in. Yellow deviated stitch all over the place with a lot of the stuff's OEM carbon that Matt, the owner, was able to source from the factory. But what he couldn't find from the factory, he commissioned MA to do.
So what would not be from factory?
The sill plate here. There's a trim, I think 2 pieces of trim on the cup holder up there,
How do you source stuff like that?
I don't know. He geeked out over it, and he's every month he'd be like, oh, I found this, I'm sending it over to you guys. I'm like, okay, perfect, cool. And then he had a couple different people do some of the seam work on the seats, and
the seats look awesome.
Yeah.
And then completely carbon.
Yeah, behind that we have our roll bar that we kind of integrated the base plates into the rocker suspension back there.
Try and see if I can get in there and see it. The suspension looks insane.
Yeah, so the idea behind the suspension was kind of looking through the back of a watch. It's a little dramatic, a little bit more than it has to be, but it's pretty cool. Like when I was driving down here, looking in the rear view, and everything's doing this back there. And
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's worse than looking at your phone.
You could see that
when
in the
you're
mirror.
texting driving.
I want to see if we can even get a... Oh yeah, you can definitely see that. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I would probably be too focused on that and end up crashing this car.
I almost did twice on the way here.
Can we pop it up and take a look at it?
That's as open as
That's as open as it's gonna get, isn't it?
Yeah, I can do this. Yeah. So you can imagine installing it's pretty...
How do you get back there?
We actually pulled the rear glass to do it.
Oh, pull everything out? That's crazy.
And then I don't know if you could see in between there, there's a bladed sway bar that actually.
Yeah, I do.
We got rid of the lower sway bar and put it up there. And
this is like the most awkward stance I can get in to get there. But
yep.
Wow, that's crazy. We can't take the glass out.
No, I know, it sucks. It sucks.
But do you want to see it? Is there any adjustments that you can make?
Yes. So these are triple adjustable Olins, and the idea behind the whole thing is typically to get a kind of a compliant ride out of a car. A lot of like the factory and a lot of people put a progressive rate spring in the car, but you'll always have a linear rate damper unless you have electronics. This, we put a linear rate spring damper, but you have a progressive arc on which it travels. So as piston velocities go up through travel, you actually get a lot more support out of it. But when you're cruising, I mean, it's pretty cush.
Yeah.
You know, it's impressive. So there's a lot of geek factor in there that Joe Scarbo and the team over at BBI, that's what we kind of came up with to get the best of both worlds. If we're going to go nuts here, may as well make it real functional as well.
So to make adjustments, you have to reach back there?
Yeah. You can actually change the arc through different pickup points down here, and then to change the damper settings, they're all right on top.
Yeah. So at least that's pretty accessible if you have to reach back.
Yeah, that's not actually, when you go on a road trip, you can dump some compression and dump some rebound out of it, you know, but if you're going to go hammer on the canyons, you kind of click them back in.
And that's a wild looking setup. And I heard you say earlier that you guys do this fairly often, but not as dramatic.
Not as dramatic as this. Yeah, we're building an RWB 993 right now, and it's really low key and tucked real low underneath, you know, and small little dainty rockers and everything, but Matt's a watch guy, and so he wanted something, you know, so we're like, okay, here we go. And it's like really looking at the back of a watch, you know, with the
it's insane just to see all the mechanics of everything that's going on with it. Well, let's take a look at the power.
All right.
Wow, it's stuffed in there.
Yeah, so there's 10 pounds of ish in a 5-pound bag. It makes about 800 wheel right now at 27 PSI.
800. What do you have to do to achieve that power number on a car like this?
Anything that air moves through is changed. You know, turbos, manifolds, all the boost piping, intercoolers. Just the way the air enters in. It actually used to have an air box right here through the small entry, but it's actually pulling air from each turbo from both side scoops.
Yeah, these guys here.
Yeah, those do intercooler and induction.
Okay, so I'd imagine it's divorced then?
Yeah, they're divorced right through there. And then it has tile turbos, tile/Zona, and a pretty free-flowing exhaust that we built. Secondary fuel pump in there.
So
ID 1000 injectors. Yeah, it kind of build it up. His next goal with it is to get it to spin to 9,500. So the engine's coming back out. We're going to do a crazy top end on it.
Wow. And what does it rev to now?
Right now it's about 8,000.
8,000?
Yeah.
So it's going up 1,500 RPM.
Yeah, we've gone to 9, but he's like, no, I want to go 9,500. We're like, okay, here we go.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Is it pretty laggy in this car? Is it?
No, super responsive.
Hits really.
It's you know, I mean, even when you're just cruising at 3,000 RPMs on the freeway and you just touch the throttle, it comes out of vacuum, you're immediately making 3 or 4 pounds of boost. So it's really responsive.
And that's why they call it the Widowmaker.
It hits hard. Yeah.
That's crazy. I'd imagine brake loose, but you got at least some big tires to try and keep it down and a whole bunch of suspension working for it. So it's crazy, all the little fans. It looks almost like a computer fan.
Yeah, all the Porsches have either 1 or 2 fans up there. The 996, 997s have that single, and then some of the newer stuff has twin.
So to work on this is mainly from underneath then?
Yeah, underneath, or I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but if you need to do any service work, it's easier just to pull the engine and trans out from the bottom.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
Just drop everything down.
Drop it up, and then that way you're getting to it. If you have to change an injector, take the engine out. So it's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare, but all well worth it when it's all working. That looks awesome. Is there anything in the boot here?
Yeah, well, you know what?
Or to see?
So I didn't point out, we got rid of the power steering driven off the engine, and we put GT3 Cup power steering, electric power steering up here. So that's the reservoir tank, and all the motor and hydraulics are all underneath there, and you can kind of see the hydraulic lines running up here to the rack. So it's kind of, I mean, but outside of that, you still get some room to put your purse.
Well, let's get at the business end and get it on the lift.
All right, you
See what
want
it's all about.
to help me knock one of these wheels loose?
Yeah,
All
we
right,
can do that.
You're probably gonna have to get on the brake.
I want to see this process.
The socket actually has this taper in here that knocks the locks back, and it's got these detents in here that hold the nut in. So when the socket slides in, it automatically collapses that. So when you're spinning it off, as you're coming back off with the nut actually holds these down.
Yeah,
it holds down, so then you can do a quick swap.
That's cool.
The nut's still in there, and typically when you run it
So
down
yeah,
with the gun,
that's something I was always kind of interested in because I never really looked at it. I thought it was cool, but yeah, you can see now that that's there. So holding that groove that'll hold the nut. These get knocked in.
Right.
That comes off.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
All right. About 360 pounds.
360 foot-pounds.
Yeah. There we go.
That's a lot.
That'll get us loose so we can break it the rest of the way off on the lift.
All right, so aside from the beautiful body lines and all the nice carbon fiber work we can see on the outside, there's not too much to see on the outside of a Porsche as far as the business end goes. So now we can see underneath it. Actually, from here, I like to look at all the coolers and stuff.
Yeah, I got big old CSF coolers on there. All 3 radiators. You add more power, you need to cool it more.
All 3 radiators.
Yeah, so you have 3 big ass radiator right here that's like almost 17 inches long. And then, it's
So that goes almost all the way to the wheel.
yeah, that's part of the problem. You get the wider wheel or bigger diameter, you have to actually move the whole radiator forward.
Wow.
So
And these are big wheels. For
yeah,
this.
and so it occupies all that space right there. And then you've got a center radiator that ducts up to the top. So as the incoming air comes through, it goes over the top instead of traditional turbos dumped through the bottom. And then you have obviously your AC exchangers in front there. But
Yeah, gotta have air conditioning.
Gotta have AC.
Gotta stay comfortable.
yeah, we're in California.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that just from all the ducting. But you can't really tell when you're on the ground, you know, that all the ducting and stuff is so functional and that each cooler is laid out so nicely. I bet that takes a lot of planning as well.
The one thing about Porsche is like anytime you pull a bumper off front or back, you just see how much stuff is crammed.
Just
like
so much.
And every little thing has a relief to run a pipe through.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on the newer cars. It's
I was at a body shop the other day and I saw a Panamera with the bumper off. And I was
yeah.
like, what is all of this
how
stuff?
is all of this under
Yeah,
here?
it's insane. There's so much plumbing and stuff that goes through here that you have no idea. Well, everything looks crazy flat, which is amazing to have in a performance car.
Yeah.
For the airflow and everything else. And but from what we can see these gigantic brakes.
Yeah, Brembo kind of pulled out all the stops on these CCMRs that they built for us on this car. So we have these knuckles are off of a GT3 Cup car.
Okay.
And so that the race spindle point, and we actually ran a little bit shorter Öhlins up top there because it's just such a tall knuckle.
Yeah. Now, does that require a bunch of custom work to run?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but Öhlins always, you send them a print and they'll build it for you, so it's pretty cool. But cramming it all in there, and
I see the adjustments are cool from right here. So.
yeah, you can. It's nice because you can just turn the wheel and reach in there.
Yeah,
and then
that's nice.
Yeah, I got cup car control arms, cups, mono ball everywhere. There's shim pack for camber adjustment.
Where do you source parts like this?
A lot of this stuff comes from the motorsport department. We actually started making, when we built this car, we weren't making it, but we're making billet arms now for all of this stuff. And Brembo built us the CCMRs, a custom hat to work on it, and then they built an adapter bracket to go on the knuckle.
That right there.
Yeah. And then the GTR forged and then billet nickel-plated caliper with titanium pucks.
And what is the rotor made of?
The rotor's carbon.
Carbon?
Yeah, it's a carbon ceramic rotor.
Gotcha. Yeah, I figured you'd have something a little beefier there.
Yeah, it's not like the street car derivative. So this is actually not one of those that you'd swap out to put the iron rotors on. That typically people. This is one that you take it out and make it glow.
So it's streetable and stuff.
It's streetable, but it's more of their high performance track setup.
Wow, that's cool.
But they don't howl. They stop really well though.
I see adjustable sway bar links.
Yeah, Tarot drop links on there, and pretty much every pickup point, and even the front track we pushed way out. Instead of to get more camber, instead of knocking the tops in,
Yeah.
we pushed them all the way out and then took the bottoms out and then lengthened the radius arm to recenter the wheel. And that gives you a really nice front footprint.
Yeah.
So you actually get a full inch of track width without rubbing up top.
On either side or both?
No, total.
Total,
Yeah,
1
total.
inch.
Yeah. So you can see the shim stack is about 13.5 millimeters right there.
Wow, that's cool.
And then when you do that, naturally the wheel wants to arc forward. So then we, recenter and redo the wheelbase.
All right. And then everything else is flat underneath, but now we can move to where everything is. It looks like there's nothing, then all of a sudden, bam, here's all the business.
So here's we went through, and Matt likes his cars real low, but they still have to function. So actually the subframes right here that bolt to the chassis up here, these are off of an RSR. And traditionally, when you look through a typical 911 GT3 or GT2, you have about 1.25 inches of space between the cross member of the transmission right here, the housing. This is, I can't get my finger through it. So
fingers barely.
Essentially raised, we inside the chassis from this standpoint, we raised all of the pickup points upward and then got rid of the eccentric and the toe link with the RSR. So we had to move actually these lines out of the way. We had to notch the body here to get these to fit. It actually almost touches the water pipe there. That's how far everything got pushed up.
Yeah.
It's all those little things that make it so this car it's actually really tame and civil for having the horsepower at that.
But that's just one of those annoying things. I know if you're getting into this and that kind of builder, you're like, oh, well, this is going to adhere. Now we have to notch
the list never ends. It just keeps going, oh, well, when we notch that, we have to move the vacuum line, and then we have to push this down and bend that around here. And we have to move all of the, all the lines on this side out and over on the frame rail.
So a lot of hours in the planning to get this even to set in here.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you guys do all this with the motor in place?
Yeah, we did it with the motor in place at the time.
Because you have to allow not only for this coming up here and the clearance on the bottom of everything up top as well.
Correct.
To clear.
Yeah, exactly.
So
back here we have Tile/Zona integrated wastegate turbos. They're good for about 550 wheel a piece. Yeah, and then we built this exhaust in house. We started playing with different inversion, reversion cones for response.
It sounds so good.
The nice part is it doesn't drone when you're cruising in 6th gear. It's just really tame. Everything's tame about it until you crack it open.
When I heard you pulling in, it was just like, wow, this is just really quiet and tame. And then you get on it and wow, it sounds amazing. Is there anything upgraded to transmission or clutch or?
Upgraded differential. It's got an RPS/ERP triple carbon clutch, so three discs, and a real lightweight flywheel. We're going to at some point re-gear it, but right now we're just beefy differential and call it a day.
What's the gearing change for? Is it real tall now or real short?
No, the first, second, and third are nice, but the later 997 GT, the 997 GT2 RS comes with a integrated first gear is on, or it's on the main shaft. The main shaft's a lot bigger, so you have a lot taller first, second, and third. It's just a little short right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Just want to
a little bit
further?
more, to take advantage of the torque
instead of just banging through the
first
couple of gears.
you get real busy because this thing makes well over 600 pounds of torque to the ground at like 3,200 RPMs.
So it's breaking loose.
Yeah, and torque we call these things stump pullers. So when we build a hill climber style engine where it doesn't rev to 9,000 like the last car we had here doing donuts out there, that car doesn't make as much torque as horsepower. But these
cut to some footage of that thing doing donuts.
These, if you're making 800 wheel, you're making a little over 800 torque to the ground, so it's like a diesel.
Yeah, it's wild, and just to see everything so close with the turbos and stuff, so close to the wheel.
I think that's the biggest challenge.
Like my finger barely fits in between this and the boost piping.
Yeah, the biggest challenge with Porsche and tuning is packaging.
It's amazing because I can see everything so well underneath, with the manifolds to the turbos and everything else, but I know that you have to pull everything out of this to work on it. Like you said before, you got to pull the motor to do anything.
Yeah, spark plugs are right here. Like theoretically, it'd be easy, but you know, they're behind this heat shield, behind the turbo. So you pull the bumper, pull the intercooler, sometimes it's just easier to pull the engine out and just dial it in.
Fully agree with you. I would not want to pull off the body panels.
You pull the supports off, the subframe, unhook everything, grab it here and here by these 2 points right here, and you know, you have a mount here, and then you have the 2 big bolts right here.
So do you have like a specific cradle that you
Yeah, we built 4 or 5 cradles that actually hook up right here, and they sit here and here.
Yeah.
And then you can take it out with the transmission on either one of the rolling carts or just set it straight on the
I'd say
ground.
that'd be much easier than just
It really is.
Some guy normally doing it with a jack on his floor. So.
Yeah, because you'll end up completely totaled, cut,
Yeah.
burned.
Yeah, but that is impressive that everything, I mean, for just most of the guys here that want to see burnouts and stuff, man, could you imagine the carnage if you lose a wheel or a tire?
It takes everything out from here back.
Yeah.
Sometimes the exhaust survives, but you usually take out a turbo, at least an actuator, the whole inlet, wastegate, discharge plumbing, and then when that happens, you take your intercooler out because it's still blowing rocks through everything.
Where's the intercooler?
The intercooler sits right, you can see the bottom of it right there.
And is there one on either side?
Yeah, a pair of them. So each turbo, this is
so you can see a little better.
Yeah, this is the charge side. So it comes out of the turbo, discharges into the intercooler through there, and then the air comes through the scoop and it dumps out through here.
So this is where we're talking about where it was divorced. So
Correct.
Half of it's going to
half
the
of
induction.
It's going to induction.
Yeah.
Well, a little more than half of it's going to the cooler.
Yeah. Okay. So through there, then the ducting would run up and over, down through here.
Right.
And that's the exhaust of it. So wow. And you can see how well that would actually work. Just the airflow just coming in through here and evaporating out through here.
And the way the air that you see everything from Porsche Motorsport, the way the air spills off the front of the car under the mirror.
Yeah.
It's almost when the car's wet or dirty and you go hauling ass through the rain, you can see the stripe bend down and it hits even
just the little strains of dirt.
Yeah, even the cars without those scoops, you just see everything kind of go right past here and fall over the wheels. So they capture it right there.
And then this, you just imagine they're rushing by it and pulling that out.
Creating a low pressure zone right here, and it vacs.
How many cars do you think you've been involved in now?
Oh,
With Porsche.
a lot. Since I was 17, I started 18, I think I was sweeping the floor in a Porsche shop.
Yeah.
And then since then, I'm 38 now, so 20 years of wrenching.
Lots of
a lot of them.
So you've had a lot of time to refine and make everything beautiful and perfect, and that's what we're seeing in this for sure. Looks amazing. We need to pull off one of these wheels and check out how that works.
All right, let's do it.
So fast, I couldn't even lower the lift down.
Want me to do it again?
No, you're good, you're good. That's amazing though. I was lowering the lift down and he's already got the wheel off. That's, when you have one lug, it's pretty rad. And you can see that that's stuck in there.
Yeah, so this is what the inside of the nut looks like. And right here, we call them chiclets, but the locks, they shove down and then you're able to do that, and then you can remove the, it's all for the quick change stuff, but why, it's still got to have this stuff on your street car, right?
Of course. I'm super jealous of this.
Yeah, it makes it so easy. Typically, you have that on an impact gun.
Yeah.
But all the new 911s with the center locks, you don't really want to do that because they've got an aluminum nut and it's more designed for the big breaker bar and torque wrench.
All the center lock stuff to get that off, it's all off of a cup car.
Correct.
You have to track that down to Porsche Racing and stuff like
yeah.
that if you were to do that for a normal street car.
Right.
The brakes look insane. They're so huge. Oh, wow. That is so crazy to me. Because that wheel, if you look at how wide that sucker is right here.
You can actually see every once in a while.
Catch a little tire.
Or we might have pushed that in there. That might have been when we were testing it, but we had to hammer that all flat.
But all the suspension looks, pretty easy to adjust.
It really is.
And everything to get to.
Yeah.
So that's nice as well. And then the caliper and everything itself, super accessible. Man, this is a really cool car. You've done a really, really, really good job on it.
It actually, I appreciate it. It actually turned out to be kind of our shop favorite for,
Yeah.
just the way it all turned out, and the really with the way the thing drives.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you bringing this by.
Thanks for having me.
And having,
Yeah.
we're gonna have you bring some more in.
All right.
I'm curious to see some more of the stuff that you call the hammers and stuff like that.
All
as
right,
well.
yeah. I want to bring that Ultima by.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool car. It's not up our alley because it's got a 427 and
Yeah.
Motec injected and
Right.
sequential blocks, but that stuff's cool, and the build turned out awesome. So I'll bring that by soon.
Well, thanks for bringing it
Yeah.
by, man. Let's go get some lunch.
All right.
That was a really awkward one.
Yeah. You should. Well, how should we do it?
We're just
Should we
gonna
hug?
we'll just hug. Yeah, we'll just hug it out. See, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna eat lunch now.
All right.
Well, kind of want to hear it run.
Okay.
It sounds like the most modest 800 horsepower ever, and then you get into it a little bit. And
Yeah, it's like so tame, just idles.
Yeah.
And, that takes a lot of work.
yeah. Ah, God, I love that. Oh, it's good. When it idles, it's just so smooth and
grocery
calm.
getter, right?
And then, wow, man, it's insane.